All right, a little cooler today. It's jacket weather, but typical Wisconsin type of thing. So anyways, today's project, I want to get a start on the box in the back to help protect kind of the cargo that we have in the back. My initial thoughts are I'm going to use this scrap metal again. This is just a small piece I got in place here, but just to kind of show as a visualization, is I kind of want to have a shelf that comes across, and then I'll have some kind of door mechanism that I can lock here, and there'll be some side panels so you can't just reach in and grab. But ideally, I'd like to fit a couple of these tubs in there in this direction. And so, you know, there'd be one over there, one over here, or I could substitute in, instead of this, a bunch of luggage or suitcases or things like that. They'll fit in there too. So that's the plan, and I'm reusing this material that I had already. So again, I'm going to use this scrap material to build this with, and I'm just repurposing this. This should be a roof from a rooftop camper that I built a while back that I'm no longer using, so it's good material to use. The width of this that's left is about 38 inches. This tub, if I go measure this tub, I am looking at about 16 inches. If I'm at 16, I'm above the tub, so the tub will slide in and out. And so if I subtract 38 from 16, I get 22 inches. That's the width. And is that width enough? So I'm hoping that I get enough here. What do I got here? Wow, it is like magic. 22 inches. So if I can use that exactly the way we just designed it, that's like, it is like meant to be. Perfect. All right, so we made cuts on this before. Again, this is just aluminum, 1x1 tubing, sheet metal on top, aluminum sheet metal. Your wood tools work really well on this stuff. I have this homebrew cutting edge that I created a while back. I'm going to use it. From the cut to this rail is 4.5 inches. I know that. And so I just measured this off. So from this side over, actually from this side over, I want 16 inches. So 16, it'd be about right here. And you see there it lands. And in fact, if you do the 4.5, so 16 plus 4.5 is 20.5. And that's right where my edge is, 20.5. So set that up all the way down. I'm gonna put you guys over here. You guys can watch the cut. And then we'll come back after that. Okay, so you can see the cut. Obviously this near side didn't have any supports that ran that way, so it just kind of flopped in the end, but that's okay. We'll add those supports in a bit. But this will be the top piece, and you know, we'll place that up there going this direction. All right, width-wise, from that edge to this edge, I'm at 62 inches. So I've set my cut station up for 62 inches from here over to the cut line, and the cut line is 4.5 inches from the edge of where the saw runs. So I've set it up. Here's the cut line right there, and I got my 2 sawhorses and my kind of big dog carrier there. So I'll put you over here, let you watch the cut. I actually need a little more support on that side. I was pinching the blade, but made her through there. So I should have the 62 inches. All right, we're just test fitting this. We got it in place up there. So it's sitting on top of the tub, and let's just verify our measurements here. So all the way across, I'm at 62 inches, and depth-wise, I'm at slightly over, just a little bit over the 22. So that should work. Now, next piece is, you know, obviously this isn't firmed up. I don't have the support on all the sides, so add some additional supports in there, and then we'll start building out kind of the frame that will attach to, and we'll kind of build out the box. All right, so this is the piece. I pulled this off. I added another brace to the end that didn't have it before. So if you look underneath, you can see braces kind of all the way down to the end. This side right here doesn't have a 1x1. So I'm adding a 1x1 angle. So it's an angle that's 1 inch by 1 inch. And I'm just going to put rivets all the way in down to the end here. So I'll put you here for a couple of rivets. You can see that process. It's pretty simple. It's kind of nice is that so far everything I've used so far has been all scrap, so it's been super nice for me. So I got a hole, it's just slightly bigger than the rivets, which I already had in stock when I made the camper. So I'm just kind of drilling a little hole. And then the riveting process is you just need a little rivet gun. I got mine at the local hardware store. Just kind of grip it, so you hold it, stick it in the hole, make sure everything's tight together, and kind of compress it. Takes a couple of squeezes usually to snap that rivet off. And then once it's in there, it's kind of pulling the metals back together. And the only way to really get these out is to drill them out. So a couple more here. Kind of going down the line. This side has some stiffness to the side that doesn't really have a 1x1 under it. And this is the side that my plan is to butt this side back up against the security wall. So it doesn't really necessarily need a 1x1. Anyway, that's the riveting process. I'm gonna get the rest of them done off camera. All right, so I flipped over that top piece. So that's gonna be actually the top piece of the box. But that's what it looks like on the bottom side. So on one side, again, I had to add an extra 1x1. And again, that's the one down there because it doesn't have any stick tape on this side. So I added this. It has tape underneath of it, so it is taped to the aluminum, but it doesn't have this because we don't have to tape it down to anything. And if I could, I'd find an easy way to remove this, maybe with a grinder later on. I'm not really sure because I don't want this touching my boxes or my luggage. I added some little corner pieces in here, and again, that was some unused material that I had for a different project, so I added those in there. That's the side that I riveted. You can see the rivets coming through, and there's rivets into the 1x1 tubes also. So I riveted that side up. That's the 1x1 angle iron. And so now this is a pretty stiff top. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside. I'm gonna start working on the front piece now, because I gotta get that front piece to match this piece lengthwise, and then I'll show you how I'm putting them together. All right, so I got this side piece, and again, this is 16 inches from this edge to that edge. I need to make it as long as the top, which you can see underneath of it. So I kind of lined it up, eyeballed it, and drew this line here. Because this is in the way, I'm gonna go use my jigsaw and just stay along that line. Put you guys over here. All right, so we got this edge cut. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the back, is I'm gonna add another piece here, just like I have these pieces. So get this kind of support going this direction in. And then I'm gonna use angle iron, just like I did before last time, in this direction to provide the support going this way. All right. Didn't get a lot of video, but I did finish up this side piece. And this is the 16-inch piece right here that comes up, that makes the front side of the box. I got the top of the box here. We already showed that. This side of the box then is just, if I separate this out a little bit, you can see I just put some angle iron all the way down. I riveted it on, and that's how that'll go. And then I want it to hinge at the bottom, so it'll end up coming up and it'll close just like that at the very top, like this. It'll overlap the top. So I already have the top. It's right here. You can see it here. And now I also have one of the front faces. So that's going to be the door. And I made those two pieces out of some kind of unused material. It was previously on the roof of a different rooftop tent. And so I'm just kind of repurposing that material, saving a little money here. So kind of getting through that. Now I'm going to make the base, and the base is going to be the same dimensions as the top. So I'm just going to use the top as my layout, do some cutting, and put this thing together. Don't know if I have a material yet like this. I'm going to be out of that. I have those couple of pieces of scrap. Not sure if I can get those off of there. It's really kind of that 3M tape that glues it to those 1x1 tubes. Pretty much the only way you can get it off is by destroying it. So I'm not sure I want to destroy any of that yet. I might find a purpose for that later on. So anyways, for now I'm going to make the skeleton, the frame of the base, and then we'll see what we can frame it in with a little bit later on. So framing we go. All right, we are going to try to repurpose this a little bit. So these tubes, I have a couple more of these long sticks that I can cut up, but I prefer not to. I need one more piece that goes right here. And I would like to be able to maybe use this piece right here. So I've already started to pry this up, but just to kind of give you an idea how good this 3M tape is, I'll let you guys watch the process here. It is pretty tough, and like I said, I've already kind of pried it up a little bit. This piece here is a little advantage because it's kind of on the edge and I can put this flat, so it's kind of here. If I try to bend off this side, it would just kind of bend the sheet metal back. So here I got a little bit I can push against, so I think I'm going to be able to get this off. Like I can see this is already kind of coming up right there. So I'm hoping that it gives me what I want without much of a fuss here. I think she wants to come. Come on. Alright, so I think I'm getting my 1" by 1" tube, but I'm going to end up losing this piece of sheet metal, I think. Maybe down that street a little bit. There you go. So, crumpled all to hell. I may be able to take a hammer, flatten that back out. But that's that 3M double-sided tape. It's pretty adhesive. All right, so we got that piece off. It's a little long, so we'll just kind of eyeball it here. Actually, this end's a little more square, so we'll use that as our reference. And just to double check, these two should be the same length when we're all said and done, and that'll put that on about on that mark. Alright, so I got this frame done. Next thing is we'll connect all this together here. Alright, so just to hold this together initially is I'm using these little angle irons, or a piece of angle bracket I should say here. And I'm using these 3/4 inch self-tapping screws. And they go together pretty easily. The real strength and structure of this will come when we put the panel on the side of it. I'm not sure what that material is that'll go over the top, but that'll give it kind of the real structural strength that it needs. But this is going to hold it together so we can build all the pieces. I think I lost my magnet in this thing. All right, take two, I found the actual one with the magnet in it. Now my screws don't fall out. So I should be able to get this together now.
Make sure I'm not sticking down. Stuff is so sticky. I have to read it here.
All right, so that's one corner done. Well, I'll knock out the other three off the camera here. All right, so now we have the bottom and the top. So now it's time to make some side pieces so that we can offset these things together, or offset them so that the side will fit in between there. So that's what we're going to be doing next. We do know that this is the side piece here. So I bring this over. So this is upside down right now. So you can see here's the top piece. Here's that side piece that we created. And here's our new bottom. So the plan is to get this bottom piece kind of mounted up. Oh, I can't do that one hand here. Set you down, see if we can see it. All right, so the plan is to get this bottom piece mounted up here and have some offsets in there so that this stays, so that the base frame stays a box. And we'll hinge this panel. We'll hinge this side panel here so it'll open up. So that's the plan, is to make these vertical struts to hold up the bottom piece. All right, so I measured it out. The side to side is about 16 1/4. My hinge is going to add another about 1/8 of an inch, and I want to have about an 1/8 of an inch gap. So I cut these to about 16 1/2. Should give me kind of that gap that I'm looking for. And so next thing is I've got these angle irons. I use some of my, got these angle irons. I'm going to use some of this tape just to kind of keep it in place. It does have some good purpose, I suppose. And I'm going to put these in place. And I know this isn't going to be exactly 90 degrees, but I'll square this up when I connect the outside material to it. That's when I'll take the time and bend it all in shape and get it all squared up. Okay, so I'm starting to think about maybe a little bit of a change to the design. This is one of the processes that I kind of go through, is always trying to think a little bit ahead of time, but not so far that I'm sitting in front of a CAD drawing and drawing this all out ahead of time. CAD's probably the smarter thing to do, but anyways, this is my process and it's worked so far. So I like to have, for example, here's my fold-up chair. I like to have these full-length things kind of in here this direction. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to make a little nook right here that will allow me to stick 2 chairs in this area right here. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking. And those 2 chairs, so if I look at this, this is the front, the side. So that'll be the side panel. The top is here, it's kind of upside down. The bottom will be on this side. So if I take this whole thing, and I think if I cut this piece right here. I have some supports on this side right here. So if I cut along that support, I can have a wall right here, and I'll have this little area. This is my little nook then for where the chairs go. So let's just kind of do a test fit here. See what that would look like. So if I just slide this wall down a little bit so that I'm in kind of where I'm thinking it will be. So this would be here. There would be a wall kind of on this side right here. So just put those in there for placeholders, but this would be kind of sheet metaled off. And I would have this little area to stick my chairs. So one would be like there, and again it would be sitting on the floor, and the other should fit on top of it. Kind of like this in this area. So I think we'll have space in there, just a perfect amount of space for those two chairs. So that's what I'm looking at. I think I'm going to end up doing kind of that. So carve out that little nook. That way I can put my chairs in there. Long ways like I like to do it. That'll also give me a little nook for other things that I want in the future. It does reduce my secure box area to from this edge over to this edge. All right, hopefully my microphone is not picking up that hum too much. But anyways, I did make the decision to cut here, and then I'll have a little nook where I can stick those chairs, and it'll go kind of the full length of the box there. So the next thing is I need to cut off a couple of these little areas right here. So my legs, you can see right now, this is one of the legs, and I want this leg to sit right up next to this, but these little ears are going to be in the way. So I'm going to come in here with the jigsaw and just cut out these little pieces on both sides here, and the same thing down there. So that's the next little step. Get those 4 little pieces cut out. All right, so I got one of those little marked here. I'm going to set you over here and let you watch that cut. Anyway, so just like that, we got one of the corners out. I'm gonna do all 4. We'll get the rest done off the video. All right, so started to get these legs. Now they fit in these little nooks. I already cut those out, and I'm starting to get the angle irons kind of bracket them in again. I'm not so worried that it's a perfect 90 yet. When I put the side material on this, we'll square it up. At that point, we just got to be able to move it a little bit, and they have a little give to them. So this will be the front. It'll open from the hinge will be on this side actually, but when it opens, it'll look like kind of that. It'll hinge. Whoa. Except for have the hinge holding on, and then it'll come back in and butt up against these pieces. So I'm gonna get the other 2 legs hinged up or bracketed up and on like that, and I'll get the other one down there. I'm just gonna use these angle brackets, connect this thing up, and I'm using those self-tapping screws. You can see that 3M tape. It's picking up all my aluminum sawdust from cutting all the aluminum. Probably keep my workspace a little cleaner so that doesn't happen, but we are where we are. So it's going to be right there. Let's see, I moved a little bit. Just gonna back it off and tighten her back down in there. There we go. All right, a couple more screws here. There's that one. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, but I'll just do that off camera. Didn't get a lot of video of this, but I assembled the final frame. And I had most of it together before, right? So I had the base already. I made the base. The only thing I did was I took this cross member which was on the end. You can see the holes right there it was mounted to, so it was all the way on the end. I slid it into where our new wall is. At some point I will use the jigsaw and cut these ends off, and then I'll have my open little area here. So this down still needs walls, so at some point I'll pick a material, put a material on that wall, on this wall, and on the back side. I did have this piece, which probably will repurpose, and it kind of fits over in this area. I think it's going to fit. So it's about exactly the width I need. So I just got to get the height, and then I can put it in here on that side. I think that'll be perfect for that side because, again, this material is a little tougher. And so as I start to put those chairs in and out and bang them, this is going to last a lot longer. So that'll get repurposed for there. I might have another piece that I can put here on this side of that same material. We'll see if I can spare one of those pieces here. But then as far as this back panel and this bottom panel, I'm probably going to maybe look at the hardware store and see if I can find something kind of inexpensive, so I can just put something on there that's not going to cost a lot of money. Otherwise, I do have some of this aluminum composite material that I built the camper with. This is good material. It's a little bit more expensive than I want to use maybe for the back edge and the front edge that you're never really going to see, and I'm just not sure yet. So anyways, TBD on these panels here on the bottom and the back. But this front, you can get an idea of what's going to look like here. Let's see if I can put you. So the hinge will go in here. So it's going to hinge on the bottom and open this way. Let's see if I can simulate that. And so if the hinge is there, this piece will be opening up like this. This will lay flat. Well, not really flat. It'll be, I guess, hinged right there. So it'll lay kind of flat. I'll be able to put stuff in the box, and then I will be able to lower the box. I might decide to put the hinge on the top. The only thing with the top is then you have to hold the lid up while you're putting stuff in, and that's always going to be a two-handed operation. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards the bottom. This, I can just let it fall. I can load in what I want to load in, put the lid up, and then I'll have my kind of my latches on this up here on the top part. So that's what I'm heading towards. I think I'm in a pretty decent shape for tonight. And I can come back tomorrow and do some more work. So this cargo box, again, I'm putting this in the back of the truck so that I have a spot where I can put luggage and other things where there's like additional layer of security. And I talked about in the past how, my model on security is that if you have enough time and you're willing to put enough effort into it, you can steal pretty much anything. And I'm just trying to add a little bit of a challenge so you can't steal things easily. So anyways, the way the box is going to work is I have a front door here that'll fold down. On that side over there, I have a little bit of a kind of a nook area. Let's see if I can just set you there. So right now I've stuffed a couple of outdoor chairs in that nook. So I'll pull these out here so you can see what that looks like without anything in there at all. So this area right here is just the nook. Nothing's bolted down right now. It's a little loose. I'm just going to put it back in spot. But my plan is to tie this into this rail that we have on the truck here. This door then should be able to open up. See if I can. So this door will hinge at the bottom and then lay flat. So maybe ungracefully you can force this here. Yeah, so it'll open like that. Lay flat. I can load cargo in. Right now, obviously, I don't have a back panel. I don't have a bottom panel. There's no panel on that side, and there's no panel on that side. So that's what's next, is to start to panel up these things. I think I have enough scrap, maybe for the two sides, and we'll see what we're gonna do for the back and the bottom. So that 3M tape, as you can see, let's see if we can get you a spot here. So this 3M tape is And it's super effective. It really works well. I did find that if you take an X-Acto knife or something that's sharp, you can, once you get under it, then you can start to essentially cut it away from the metal. So you can remove this a little bit. So I have been kind of going around and just removing it where I don't want it, because as you can see, it kind of attracts everything sticks to it. So I don't want my luggage sticking to it or anything like that. So I'm just kind of going around and kind of cleaning it up and doing that removal. That's kind of an example spot right there, but I'm going to do that everywhere. All right, next up is, these are the legs that extend out before I added that nook, so I'm going to actually cut these where I've got them marked. Put you over here, watch that cut. Actually, just needs a little extra push to get to that front wall, and after that, it's kind of smooth sailing like butter. All right, legs are cut off. Some more scrap pieces for us, maybe, if we need them. All right, next up, this is one of the pieces that I salvaged before, or I've pulled off the things. I got a pretty nice piece here that I can fit into place here. It might already be, it's pretty close to size already. Just need to square it up and maybe get it attached. All right, so this is where we're gonna really square this up. When I assembled this, I did make sure all the links are all the same, so I know dimensionally I'm pretty close, but I might have to kind of push it one way or twist it, so I'm gonna use this sheet. I'm gonna spend some time, cut it square, and then I'll have a square piece that I'll be able to stick on this side over here, and then that'll help square this side up. And I'll do the same thing on the opposite side over there. So that's the next step. I'm gonna draw that up off camera, and then I'll let you guys watch when I cut it. All right, I thought I had some video of me cutting this, but I didn't. But I measured this up, and I got it cut to size. That should now fit here. So the next thing is drill some holes, put some rivets in there. Square it up as we go, and I'll have this side done, and we'll do the same thing with that other side down there. All right, so we are in the process of riveting this panel to the frame. I did put the front, which is going to be the door, in here, and I kind of wedged in a spacer because I know I have a hinge that's about that thick. The hinge will actually be on this side, but I just wedged it in. That'll help keep everything square for the purposes of kind of putting this thing together and at least making sure my front fits in the hole it's supposed to fit in. So we'll keep that square like that. I'm just going to put some. So I've already drilled a couple of holes on this side, so you can see the holes I already drilled. At this point, I'm going to pop some rivets in there, and then we'll put some rivets in the top and the bottom, and then we should be good to go with this side. I am running a little bit low on rivets, so I kind of want to be a little conservative. So the riveting tool is nothing special, it's something I got at my local hardware, and here it's called Menards. Probably get them at Home Depot. Order them online on Amazon. The rivets I'm using, I had left over from the camper build. And they are, had a 100 pack of these. These are black ones. I also had a 100 pack of white ones. But that's what those rivets are, 3/16 diameter. So far a lot of this build is just material that was left over or unused or repurposed. Alright, so rivets are along this side. I'll probably put at least one rivet in the center of the top and the bottom, but I'll do that offline. But then this side will be done. Okay, so now we've got a front, a top, and two sides. We still have to get a bottom and a back. So for the bottom and the back, I'm probably gonna tap into my Omega Bond material. Really don't want to. I kind of wanted to save this for if I ever needed to repair my camper. Like, I don't know, I'm camping and I scrape a door on a branch and it rips a hole in it. I have the material that I need to kind of fabricate a new panel. But I do have a whole sheet, plus I have these small pieces over there that I think I can use for this little project. So I think I'm going to be okay. So I'm going to use this. So this stuff is, again, if you have never seen this, it's an aluminum composite material. So it's two pieces of aluminum and then like a plastic sandwiched in between them. So kind of makes it strong, but at the same time lightweight. I already got my lines drawn, so I'm going to cut along this with the jigsaw, and we'll get this attached to the bottom using some rivets. So there's one side off. Add this back to the scrap pile. So this side looks like I'm clear. I'm going to go ahead and do this cut now. Okay, so we got that piece cut. That's how it's going to look when it's all said and done. This stuff, it's got a, let's see if I can peel this off without, so it's got a protective layer on it. So I'm going to peel this off before I get going with the rivets, and that way I don't have to worry about peeling it off around the rivets, which I did do on that truck. So lesson learned there. So peel this, drill it, rivet it, secure it in place, and then we'll start looking at the back side here. All right, so I've started connecting this side over here. I've got the rivets in the bottom. I also put a few extra rivets on the kind of the side here so that this bottom panel doesn't come out. This panel is the same thing I used for my bed panels in the tent. So up here where the wedge rises, so you can see the bed panels, and each of those squares I can sit my 250 pound mass in each square, in any of those squares, and that panel will support me. So theoretically this should be a pretty strong bottom. I'm not planning on putting 250 pounds of weight in here, but I should be able to put some weight in here, and then theoretically I could lift the box up out of the truck and that box isn't going to fall out. I probably will never do that, but it is going to be a pretty strong bottom. So I'm going to do this same thing on the other side. I'm just using scrap material, so I think this is a, you can see it's a 3/4 by 3/4 inch angle. I don't have any more of that, so now I'm going to another piece of scrap. It's a 1x1. So if you kind of look at the box, at some point you might go, oh, Frankenstein, but hey, it is what it is. So far I don't think I've bought anything to build this box. I mean, obviously I bought it at some point, but just kind of repurposing and using unused material. I'll bring you along for the ride on this one. You're sitting on top of the box, so it might be a little shaky, but you get the idea. Okay. Now we're just going to space these out like we did on the other side. I think I did about every 5 or so. 5, 10, 15. Instead of rivets, you could use those self-tapping screws also. Kind of like the smooth edge here on the rivet, so I'm going to be sliding this in and out of my truck, and I have a piece of carpet in there, so this will maybe give me a little smoother sliding in and out experience. So I got those, and now on the other side I put 2. Run out of space here, but 2 right in between this one and this one. I'll do the same thing here on this side. Alright, so another step done. I'm gonna wait on the rivets on this side and that side yet, because I'm thinking I'm gonna have my panel, and then I'll probably have some kind of angle iron over them both, right? So instead of me putting rivets in and then I can't get the angle iron on, I'll just hold off on that. It's been so dry here lately. Glad we're getting finally some rain. Anyway, I'm gonna work on the hinge thing now. I'm not gonna do the back yet, because once I put that back on, it kind of locks the box and it doesn't have any room to kind of go this way. And I've already got this door set in shape, so whether it's square or whether it's not square, I mean, it is what it is. And I need to be able to have that little bit of wiggle room in that box to make sure that this fits. So I'm going to go ahead and get the side that opens in and make sure that everything looks good with this side, and then I'll lock everything down with the back. So that's the plan right now. So I've got the hinge already kind of clamped into place. So for now, I don't know if I'm going to put all the screws in, but I'm going to go ahead and just do a couple. That's the screw head that we're dealing with here. So we can get this to focus here. Right there, you see the screw head has a little countersink. I don't have a countersink tool, so I'm just going to use 2 bits. The angle of this screw head isn't quite the same angle as my drill bit there, but it's close enough, and I can tighten it down, and it'll be nice and snug then. So first thing is I already got 1 done, but we'll just do it again. So 2, 4, 6. I'm going to go ahead and do So another one, I'll skip one here. So just do a little countersinking. I'll do one over here at the same spot. Then we'll switch to our bit that we're using for the actual drill itself, and I forgot which one it was. I think it's this one. Then we'll get the hole through. Okay. Now if we did our steps correctly, this should be able to tighten down nicely. Okay. So nice and snug. So that's the process. I'm going to go through, we're going to do all of them that way. I didn't get the footage of me lining this up. I just needed every hand I could get, and there was no good place to sit you. But I did get it lined up. And you can see I've got the hinge on the inside. And so if you're on the inside of the box, let's see what you can see there. So this is the door. So hinged, I got a couple of bolts in. I got to put a couple more in, but I close it up. So that'll be closed, and then I can open up the box, and we're open. So closed and open. So I got to finish up with a couple more, just securing a couple more holes that I already got drilled, get some screws in there, and then I think I'm going to call it a night. It's getting dark, and I'm hungry, so I'm going to go in for some food. So the only thing we'll have left after this one is to put the back on. So I'll be able to cut the back. Now that I know dimensionally I'm okay, whether it's square or perfectly square or not, it still fits this side, which is what I want and what I need. So the box is getting pretty complete. So far we've been able to use a lot of either repurposed material or unused material from different projects and built what we have so far today. The front door works. I put the hinge on last night. You can see the hinge on the bottom here. So the door opens. There's no back. You can see all the way through right now. It closes. So if I sit you inside here, you know, imagine you're now luggage. So now you can see things, and we can close the door up, lock it. I haven't got the locks on yet, but we'll get locks soon, and you can open it up and pull the luggage out. So that's where we're at right now. So I measured up the back. It's 18.5 by 50 inches. I've already kind of started this cut and got some clamps in there just to hold it in place, and also to help me with this piece as it wants to fall off as I cut. So we got one more cut line. I'll just spin this around here, and we'll take care of that side right there. All right, so we got the back on. I added a piece of angle iron on the bottom. Being a little conservative with my rivets right now, I don't know how many I have left, so I'm just going to kind of tack this into place, and if I have extra, I'll come back in and fill this in a little bit. Same thing on the sides. Probably put a piece of angle iron here, and then put a couple of rivets in there. Okay, so I added a piece of angle iron here. This is mostly just for aesthetics, but I did want to get this in before I put the latches on, because the latches will kind of overlap. I got one of the latches in here. You know, security wise, if they come with a battery powered saw, you know, they're going to cut into anything that I have. I'm just looking to stop people who are looking for a quick opportunity. So they see something in the back of the truck, they grab it and they go. So at least now I can put stuff in a lockbox, and I'll do the same thing on the other side over here. So I'll have two locks, but I'll be able to lock things up. All right, so I think we have accomplished the major goals for today. We have a functioning box that now has some latches. I have the back on, so let's go ahead and put it in the truck here. I'll put you guys here on this corner. So maybe you can watch the install. Install is pretty easy. The thing is really super light. It's just all aluminum. I think you guys are set there. Does slide pretty easy in the carpet. Just get it in place, and I think it got closer than what it should have been, because I had to add an extra inch to the bottom to add the bottom piece in there, and that raises it up an inch. So if it was lowered an inch, I think we'd be in better shape, but it is what it is. I think I am going to go for just a normal box and trim off that edge. Sorry about that. So we've got the box pretty much complete now. I did cut off the edge. Actually, it was over there on that side. That gives me some freedom to be able to slide the box to the right or the left. I kind of like having my chairs, my foldable chairs, on the driver's side, so when I get out, I can pop this window, get access to the chairs, because I get those a lot. So I like having that little hole there. And now we should have plenty of room to position that box so it's not going to rub the wind doors. I am also going to secure the box. You know, this, for example, this side I'm going to secure to this rail that we put in, so it'll be secure in the back. But again, it's going to serve the purpose. I'm going to be able to put luggage or anything in here, so that it just kind of serves a couple of purposes. It adds another layer of security. Obviously, if someone has like a reciprocating saw or something like that, they're going to be able to get into whatever they want. And again, that's not the purpose. The purpose is to dissuade most people who, if they were to kind of open up the wind door and see what's in the back, it's not just an easy grab and go. You know, what they're going to be seeing is, if they do get into the wind door, they're going to see a locked box, and now they have to decide if they want to deal with this locked box, and if it's even worth it, because they don't even know if it's empty or not. So that's kind of the purpose of the box, is just to have another layer of security there. So once this box is attached to the bed, that will offer a little bit of additional physical security. In a future video, you know, we'll talk about electronic security, see if we can add some motion detecting alarms or anything like that, so that we get maybe a notification if somebody's back here and they shouldn't be. But we'll talk about electronic security in another video.